take it off.
I like your shoes.
That's funny. Rapper turned singer. Who made that album? Not John Legend. Anyway, the guy who uses auto-tune. So I was thinking
Kanye West.
T-Pain, yeah.
Oh.
I was thinking
Every
rapper
other
turned
artist.
singer. So I guess I'm poet turned rapper. So this one's called Children of the Street. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. This is for all the homeless kids and runaways, throwaways, seeking refuge from their families, refugees from neglect and abuse, neglected kids who feel their life has no use, feeling useless, dealing with drugs and depression, depressed kids who can't pay attention to school lessons, unable to focus because they're feeling hopeless, and no way to cope with this, can't cope. Only thing is to run the streets. And if you ever run the streets, then you know the truth that I speak. Truthfully, some kids got dealt a bum deck of cards, homeless kids, sleeping on Hollywood Boulevard. Sleeping, but really there's no rest. When finding a meal and a place to stay is your biggest test. No place to stay, mean there's no stability. So how are homeless kids supposed to live up to their ability? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in the dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in the dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in the dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in a dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? Children of the street are really traumatized. And in some countries, they're truly despised. Because no stranger will love you like a real mama will. Living a street life is easy to get hurt or killed. And when a street life is the only life you know, it's easy to get used to living out in the cold. The world can be cold and heartless. When you are neglected, time seems the darkest. At least punishment involves some type of attention. And why some children aren't loved is beyond all comprehension. Why are some kids punished like criminals, feeling withdrawal of affection as minimal? Without love, there's no feeling of security. And why are insecure parents the ones with the most immaturity? How can kids form attachments when parents burn down families like a book of matches? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in a dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in a dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in a dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? If you're from the slums, do you know how I feel? Tossed in a dumpster as a youngster, do you know how I feel? Whether you call it a broken home, or if it's the streets you roam, either way, you're rejected by those who share your chromosomes. When your family is bickering, there's nowhere to cling. Kick the dog, they take it out on the offspring. And to hurt a child takes a really sick mind. So to children, I really am truly kind. And if you really don't care in the end, then how can you claim to be next to kin? I don't understand why we hate one another. And the easiest person to disown is your brother. With no family, there's no community. With no community, there's no unity. This is because we are social creatures. And I don't think someone loves you if they mistreat you. I guess that's the point of social work. Love that is love shouldn't have to hurt.